Hello, I am Host Eric here with Host Zachary, and we are going to be discussing tonight generational differences. And I just asked a big long question at the end of the last video and then stopped it. So the big long question basically is talk to me about generational differences, gap closing, gap widening, and vectors upon which the differences are measured.
All right, so I think the older generations, and I think they are now. They're moving toward this direction, but there's an effort to be made to become more receptive to, like you said, how the younger generations identify, their phones as an extension of themselves. I think the older generations are kind of catching on to that now. You see, definitely, I know uh, some people from the older generations who they use their phone more than I do. So it's definitely we're moving in that area. I think people are finally catching on to that. Where it comes to younger generation, though, I feel like they rely on their phone too much. It's very I feel like it's oversaid, but it's also undersaid because it's uh, it's kind of impersonal. If a lot of communication nowadays through my generation happens over text, happens over Facebook messaging, iMessage, etc. And it's impersonal because it removes the emotional connection to, not to imply there's no emotional foundation towards interaction, but when you're communicating with someone, body language, being able to you need to be around someone to fully understand the foundation on which what they're saying is coming from. Sometimes it's very easy to take lose things in theatricality when you're talking to someone over text, for example, and also it's it's a personal in the sense that it's a lot easier to open your phone up and read someone's message to you and respond to it without even thinking. Whereas if you're in person, you're more inclined to connect with them, and even I know there's studies showing that if you're like people tend to be more trustworthy looking into another person's eyes and et cetera. It's it I guess if I'm boiling my argument down to what I'm saying is that there's a level of impersonal behavior that's becoming evident in the younger generations, and it's because interaction over text, interaction over messaging is ultimately less personal than face-to-face interaction. So I think that social skills are deteriorating. I think social skills are definitely deteriorating. I
All right,
I
let's
know
stop that.
mine
Hold on, I'm gonna stop you
mine
there.
were
Let's talk
very
about
damaged.
social skills deteriorating. Let's talk about what you just said. Um, okay, so it's true that text is dangerous, right? Text is super dangerous
Mhm.
because the the only way to manage it without potentially causing all sorts of problems is to basically fill it with emoticons
Yes, yes, emoji. Yeah, yeah. I meant to put that in there. Yeah,
to replace the
and that's
fact that
still.
you can't see your face. But for most people, like writer types, we are not particularly inclined towards using a lot of emoticons.
Hmm.
I am confident write extremely well based on how you talk because talking and writing are basically the same thing, right? So you're when you're expressing ideas, you're choosing words carefully. You're choosing precise words to express ideas precisely, and are interested and concerned about parsing. So distinguishing between this word and this slightly different other word that means something different, and what those differences are and stuff like that. Uh, the issue of the last thing you said that I stopped you at because I want to talk about with the conclusion, sort of, which was what again? Because I forgot already.
The deterioration of social skills.
Right, yeah. There you go. All right, so I don't think social skills are deteriorating. I think they're getting vastly improved. Vastly improved. Because, but not necessarily because of phones, but because of the internet in general. Because you have to deal with the persistence of your communications in a group forum. So if I post comments or something on an internet page, everybody's going to respond to it if it's really awful, and maybe I'll take it down or whatever, but I will go, oh, that particular argument chain didn't work. But if you don't have the internet and you're parroting these negative, these sort of bad sentences, basically sentences of ontological violence or otherwise indications of badness in some way, that if you're just parroting them amongst people who already agree with them in an insular community, then that means you're not going to experience the natural consequences of wielding that particular idea weapon out in the real world. And wielding it out in the real world means you get your ass whooped, because it's not a strong argument and it's bullshit and you're being a douchebag, you know. And you got to learn you got to get your ass whooped a few times to learn not to use those arguments anymore. And then everybody talks about how, oh, well, see, now we have a more tolerant world and people believe differently and everything, whatever. What it really means is now those ideas have had to get their ass kicked out in the real world rather than just fucking festering in insular town. You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot easier to... I feel like types like us are definitely inclined to try out ideas on other people. We need that feedback, you know. I think that's one of the... Assuming I'm an ENTP,
I think you are.
That's one of
I'm increasingly convinced you are. For example, when you did that whole gathering, trying to coalesce your thoughts into a single crystallized point at the end there, and when there's a certain vocalization you did, hey, come here, I want you to say hi to homie here. This is Zachary. He's from Kentucky.
Hi.
He's a college freshman at a community college, maybe at Kentucky. And if she goes to college, she's going to community college too, because why waste money, right? Why waste money on a 4-year?
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, thank you for saying hi. Can you do me one more favor? Can you bring me a soda with ice in a blue cup? Delilah, could you please do it for me? Please, thank you. You're a helpful child occasionally. Instead of lady disruptor. Yes, we do have soda, Delilah. We always have soda around this house. Since I quit drinking alcohol, we always have soda at this house. And I will drink soda. I will drink fucking 2-liter soda easily. No problem in a sitting, because soda is very good. I'm advertising the general product of soda right now. I'm not suggesting you buy any particular kind of soda.
Like a Pepsi sign on the back of your, behind you, you know.
No, but I want a sign back here that just says, "Buy soda. You pick which brand." You know?
Yeah. So
I want to just advertise the general concept of it. I also want to be one of the leading advertisers for bread. Again, not any particular brand of bread. So.
Just bread.
I didn't open it, but there you go.
I didn't, I couldn't, I wouldn't?
Because I can't with anything else.
Alright. So what were you talking about before I
never thought of it that way. I guess when I am talking like that, I do have to kind of get all my pieces. I have to articulate all my pieces and then put them together into the cohesive whole.
Well, see, look, one thing you're doing, you're freestyling well. Now, this is one of the reasons why I was unsure about you, and I'm still unsure, but increasingly convinced you're ENTP, is because you did a sort of hybrid thing. INTPs will give you a really good articulate answer. They're going to wait a while before they start speaking, and then they're going to have a specific length of sort of answer. And then when they're done explaining their answer, they're going to stop. a ENTP trying hard and or metacogniting about it or being very attentive to all elements will do exactly the same thing. But when they relax a little bit more, we tend to jump from our own top to we take off from that spot where we land onto the next thing that it associates for us. So we'll just continue riffing indefinitely until somebody goes, okay, now it's my turn, or you go, SI goes, remember that we're supposed to say whatever. Personally, I don't. The riffing endlessly thing is the most natural thing in the world for me. So like some people when they want to talk to me, they're like, well, let's have a topic or blah, blah. But two NTPs will tend to just roll and it goes wherever it goes, you know?
Yeah.
One of the qualities of that is this. I'm not done expressing the idea, but I haven't quite grasped all the different chains of where it's leading here because I want to cover everything, because I want to cover all the contingencies. That's super ENTP-ish.
Mm-hmm. I think I can identify with that.
And I'm not sure at all, still for you, but I'm just saying I'm getting more and more qualities that seem to align with that. If you were... Also, if you were INTP, you might be a little less socially graceful. You seem pretty socially graceful, right?
How do you mean? Like just kind of very like keeping the social harmony going?
Well, what I mean by that is some INTPs, they're not necessarily aware of how they're presenting to an audience as much so as ENTPs are. So it's like, and what I mean by awareness it doesn't necessarily mean conscious. Like INTPs can certainly be very conscious of the fact that they're presenting right now, and they probably thought through some ideas about that. But the ENTP is going to be utilizing their trusty third function, which is still useful, as opposed to your fourth function where you're just trying to compensate for it, basically. When the third function, FE, is useful for us, we're able to read other people's emotions in a group setting. We're able to read other people's emotions well, as long as we're not trying to read how they feel about us. So, we can read how Jane feels about Joe very well. And INTPs can't so much. If you're ENTP, then you would display more socially graceful behavior on some level. On a tactical level, you're more socially graceful. On a strategic level, you're less socially graceful if you're ENTP, and vice versa if you're INTP. That's one way of putting it. How do you think about that?
I realize I'm doing exactly what you were saying earlier with the hybrid thing. Like now I'm thinking about it before I say it. You know, so I guess I'm pretty aware of how other people or how the group dynamic is generally going. I can usually tell if things are tense between people or if there's like some, I guess, road bumps in the path of conversation. But I don't always know about myself. Sometimes people just have to tell me to shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Or they have to tell me that for example, I didn't. What happened earlier. I didn't realize that he was gonna, bash my head in.
I think was it your head or your face? See, face seems less bad than head. Head's bad because then you're gonna die. Then they're basically saying they're gonna kill you. Face, then you're gonna be a punch, but I don't know. Yeah, that sort of thing. Okay, well that's true. That's not necessarily socially graceful, but that's the sort of mistake that an ENTP makes, not an INTP. Because, like, you could imagine, what the hell's going on there? You could imagine an INTP making a mistake more on the lines of of not expressing, not being expressive at all, or not even considering that, right? Like you indicated that you were sort of, what is going on?
She like hurt Dixie. I think Dixie got hurt.
Are you okay, Dixie
I don't
Pitts?
think so. I think she's hurt. Look at her.
She's just engaged in wrestling. Compton, hey.
Yeah, it's not allowed, dude. That's why I'm bringing her inside.
Thank you. Close the door behind you, please, 'cause it's cold. What were we talking about?
I think we're talking about.
Oh yeah. About being socially awkward in certain ways or not,
Graceful.
not other ways. So I think that the INTP is almost never socially awkward in the way that the ENTP is. They are socially, well, for example, this, how mad do you get and how long do you stay mad at people and over what?
Let's see. I get mad if okay, so sometimes, one of the first times I met one of my professors at the college, I was talking to him and I could tell he was like under the sleeve insulting me, like intelligence wise, or he was like generalizing me with a lot of like other students, which I mean is fair enough. But I didn't want to. I guess it's the FE in me that didn't want to like create disruption, so I just kind of went with it. But I guess when I feel like I'm being belittled, or if something I'm saying is being criticized wrongly, then that's when I get upset. That's when I get angry. But I don't get angry very often at like.
Yeah,
I mostly get angry at myself.
Imagine a scenario in which somebody's very specific, like a relationship person, not necessarily a dating relationship, but like somebody you know more than just a random person in the world, like a stranger. Okay, so you're not talking about a stranger encounter, you're talking about a friend encounter, and this friend has said something like, I cannot believe that you did X, and X is not considerate at all. You told me blah 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 blah, but then you did blah 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 blah. And the thing that you've been accused of is very much closely linked to the fucking dog distracting the shit out of me. Very closely linked to a relationship expectation of some sort. So in other words, either you made a date and failed to meet that date, like, you forgot about it and didn't show up when you're supposed to, or some sort of mistake like along those lines. If they did that sort of mistake along those lines, how mad would you be and how long would you stay mad?
I probably would be like initially upset, but I would get over it pretty quickly, and then I would just be. I don't know. I feel like I have a pretty forgiving nature. Like I think I would be cool with it. Honestly, I think I would just. It depends on. I guess it depends on their reasoning. If they. Are you talking about if they just like flake out without telling me? Just.
They flake out. They're supposed to show up. There's a friend. You're like gonna meet at. You're gonna meet at the Pete's place, but you made the plans yesterday, and you haven't actually followed up. But they were firm and they confirmed, and you're supposed to, and you're at the Pete's place, and he's supposed to be at the Pete's place, and he's not there. And you call him, and there's no answer. And then you're like, been waiting for like 15, 20 minutes. He doesn't show up. And then finally he calls you and goes like, "Oh, dude, I totally forgot about it. I went to my grandma's house." How mad are you?
I probably wouldn't be very mad, honestly. I probably think it'd be kind of funny, or just like if he was. It depends on what they're doing. But yeah, if it was like at my grandma's house or something like that, like I don't think I'd mind that much. Or at least if I was initially upset, I think I would get over it pretty quickly.
Okay. What if you told somebody something in secret and then they revealed that secret? Like, even though they said they had.
Okay, now that makes me very upset. Yes, that's another thing that will instantly lose my respect for someone.
Okay. So, what if they say, "Look, it wasn't my fault. I couldn't avoid it. What happened was blah, 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 said blah, 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 and they have some sort of explanation along those lines that sort of mitigates their responsibility. Are you less mad, or are you still say, no, this is really important to me? No, Compton, you go. No, you are not allowed in here.
I would say I'd still be mad. It'd still be important to me. It wouldn't really matter how they compromised it. If they still compromised this, something like that, then it would still upset me.
Yeah! Yeah! Fucking Delilah, I tell you. This girl is so goddamn not helpful all the time. I missed that entire answer, so I don't know. Can you nutshell it in like two sentences?
Pretty much, yeah. I get pretty upset. It wouldn't matter how they compromised it. If they still compromised it, it would still upset me. I have to run and take a piss real quick, so
Yeah, sure.
Be right back.
Stop this one.